if you're truly doing what you really want to do, you will have no regrets. So even if I'm gone tomorrow, I would have no regrets because I'm exactly serving as the way I want to. So that is very fulfilling for me with all the work that I'm doing.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good morning, Rohan Chaubey. Previously, episode 678 of the 12-Minute Convos podcast. It's been just 2 years, 10 months, 20 days, 23 hours, and 45 minutes since we last recorded that podcast conversation.
I would like to share a piece of advice which my mentor offered me. It is find someone better than you to teach you, equal to you to challenge you, and not as good as you so you can learn from teaching.
Rohan, that was then. This is now. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I'm so happy to, come back to your 12 minutes conversation podcast.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. I remember our first conversation, and then we reconnected, and then we did speak again about blogging and how we can effectively improve our blog, specifically Amanda's blog, with the health perspective that she seeks after. What's going on with you? Like, what's new?
Since the last time we spoke, many things have happened now. I have two companies. I work with a lot of interesting US based startup. I launched my own book called the Growth Hacking Book. It's a book which I and my partner Parul compiled together. And we have 35 authors from 9 different countries. And the book became a bestseller in 9 different countries on Amazon. And we also announced July 13th as the International Growth Hacking Day. Since the name of the book is Growth Hacking, and the book is about growth hacking.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, congratulations on that. It speaks to the type of work you put in, Rohan. Tell us about how you approach your work ethic. It seems as though you're an individual that sets goals and achieves them. How do you do that?
It's all about being driven by your passion. And for me, it's that I take one goal at a time. I find the best way to achieve that. And until I achieve that, I keep going.
Now, the blogging, the online world is one where there is so much competition and there are so many things that are changing consistently. What are ways that individuals can ensure that they are effectively reaching people through their blogs?
Right. I started as a blogger, then later I realized that, content marketing is so much more than the blogs. So, yes, blogging still remains relevant. However, now that new platforms are emerging, we can always, promote our blogs by repurposing them into the formats of the platforms that are new to us. So, maybe let's say, the last time we spoke, platforms like TikTok were almost non existent. And Instagram has catching up so much. So it's all about what channels would you use now to distribute your content.
It's so important to evolve, right?
Right,
Within the
right.
online space or within every industry, the importance of evolving. How are you keeping pace with all of that, Rohan?
I have this incredible community called Invincible Winners, and everyone is an expert into something. So let's say I'm into growth hacking and blogging and content marketing. Someone else is good with SEO, design, social media. So it's all about keeping up with the industry trends and being connected to the top players. So now that we have this group, let's say if there's an major update from Google, so the SEO guys would inform us, and maybe if there's some updates on social media, so I'll inform the group or someone else will notice that first. So I think it's all about having a group of, maybe you can call them friends or growth friends, but I prefer calling them growth friends who are committed to learning together.
Now, you are an individual that started this when you were 16 years old.
Right.
And if my estimation is correct, you are just around 22 years old now, right? Is that correct? Am I there?
Yes, yes.
So you've been in this for over 6 years now, Rohan. It's like in online years, 6 years, it feels as though it's like 25 years, right? Compared to what's going on in other industries. It's like dog years, right?
Right. It's like everything is moving so fast.
Exactly, right? It feels as though, wow, that happened so quickly. You, my friend, have seen how the online space can have challenges as well as advantages. For someone that's listening, that wants to access your knowledge, where's the best place for them to connect with you?
I've recently started Rohan Chaubey TV, which is my YouTube channel. So we have already planned 1,000 episodes, and I've been like consistently posting every week now, and then eventually I'll increase the frequency. So yeah, for now, I would say my YouTube channel is the best place they can go.
One of the things you spoke about, and I heard it in a book I listened to called The War of Art,
Mhm.
right? Not the art of war, the war of art. And he spoke about resistance. You spoke about resistance as well as a writer. And
Yeah.
I think it's something that's applicable through everything that you're doing. Do you see it as being relative to this day, the resistance that occurs from keeping you from achieving the things you set out for?
Yes, so I think it's all about just getting started. Otherwise, you would always be in that state. So it's all about pushing yourself. And I'm not sure, if you have heard of this. There's this principle that if you feel like procrastinating on something, just start it for like a couple of minutes, and eventually you will, want to complete that. So yeah, I think maybe you may not be feeling to get something done, but then once you start, your mind would, be committed to finish it, because we are also looking for the end of
Mhm.
whatever we do. So I think that's how you have to learn to play with your mind.
I remember the first time we spoke, you explained introversion and how challenging that could be, especially like jumping into things like podcasting and in being interviewed.
Right.
How has that evolved from the perspective of the fears that go with introversion?
Right. I remember, reaching out to you. And I think the first podcast I ever did was with you. And since then, I've done so many. And now I'm also doing YouTube interviews and so many events. And then I organized my own conference called International Growth Hacking Day Conference. So, yeah, I would say being on your podcast. And then I realized that, okay, maybe, I can do more. And then I think we also had a conversation about this. And I guess I was going for a event or something. And I asked you, if this is the right thing to do, or should I do this? And you encouraged me to do that. And then I realized, oh, maybe, I'd really like speaking. It's just that I wasn't doing it.
Wow.
And because I'm introverted, I would never go to networking events. So one hack that I found is, instead of going to other people's event, organize your own conferences and events, or be a speaker at an event. So the audience would come to you to ask questions and have a conversation with you. So
Yes.
it just becomes easier. So this is what I found.
You've hacked around the process. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. There's something you said within our conversation that I found to be prolific, and it's something your mentor shared with you. And it's find someone better than you to teach you,
Right.
equal to you to challenge you, and not as good as you, so you can learn from teaching. Is that something you're doing to this day, Rohan?
Yes. So I remember this happened February 2017. And if you watch one of my latest interviews, that I'm still repeating that same
Wow.
teaching, because I'm truly, truly following that.
Hmm. Well, my friend, I do appreciate you so much. You are still in Mumbai, are you? Mumbai, India.
I am. Yes,
Oh, that's
yes.
wonderful. It's such an amazing opportunity to have a technology that allows us to connect and have a conversation this way. One of the things, as young as you are, that I've found myself reflecting on because I've lost a few past guests is the concept of death. How do you interact with the idea of it is possible that you die today or tomorrow, Rohan?
Firstly, I'm sorry to know that, you lost a few of your guests. This year on March 15th, I lost one of my friends and employee. And I think for me, what I've learned is, if you're truly doing what you really want to do, you will have no regrets. So even if I'm gone tomorrow, I would have no regrets, because I've been doing what I really want to do, and I'm exactly serving as the way I want to. So that is very fulfilling for me with all the work that I'm doing.
That's wonderful. Well, I appreciate this day and this opportunity to speak with you, Rohan. This has been such of a great pleasure checking in as your podcast accountability partner to say, Rohan, are you doing what you said you were going to be doing? It's such a wonderful pleasure to hear what you have in your future, my friend, as a young man seeking after your visions and your dreams and your goals. So I thank you for that. Rohan, in closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
There's nothing such, but yes, I would like to thank you for having me again and for catching up. And I'm so grateful that I had my first podcast with you. I've grown so much since then.
Yeah, you're taking over the world one step at a time. I'm very proud of you. Rohan Chaubey, again, a great pleasure. Thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.